President Biden is set to announce a student loan bailout plan later today. The government handout will reportedly erase $10,000 of debt per student at an estimated cost of $300 billion a year to U.S. taxpayers. Outkick founder Clay Travis, who would have loved to have had that deal when he was still paying off his student debt, joins us right now. Clay, good morning to you.
No doubt, Steve. Like a lot of people out there, I went all the way through law school, so I ended up with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. And when you break it down, those are the people who tend to have the most student loan debt, Steve. That is doctors, lawyers, people who go to school, obviously, for a long time, including grad school. And just right off the top, Steve, the thing that I question the most, and this is me taking advantage of all those student loans and putting on my lawyer hat here, is I don't think that constitutionally Joe Biden has the authority to erase $300 billion in student loan debt without legislative authority supplementing that decision. And so I suspect this will end up in the Supreme Court, much like his eviction moratorium that he tried to continue under the CDC without the authority to do so. I think the Supreme Court is going to end up striking this down when it eventually reaches there. But that will be well after the midterms, and then Joe Biden can blame the Supreme Court for not giving debt relief to all of these students out there. And maybe in the meantime, he will have spurred and motivated many young voters to have shown up in the midterms who don't know any better and believe that they are endorsing Joe Biden's unconstitutional student loan give back.
You know, I'm glad we'll see what happens, but I'm glad you brought up the fact that the midterms are 76 days away, and I'm sure he's got a list. Okay, yes. I gotta check that off. I gotta clean up this COVID thing. Fauci's out now, and all that other. We're going to reorganize the CDC. They're trying to make it easier for Democrats to win come November, and I'm sure on your radio show you've been talking about this. In the generic polling and also the Fox News estimations, the Republicans will still take the House, but they will not have as many winners on the Republican side as they thought a couple of months ago. Why do you think the Democrats are closing the gap?
I honestly think there's a lot of discussion about Dobbs, the June ruling. If you go and look at the polling data, it seems that that has energized some of the Democrat base and maybe started to move a little bit of independents who were uncertain. And then, look, I think most of the movement, honestly, is starting to happen in the Senate. And it remains to be seen whether all of these senators in battleground states, whether it's Pennsylvania, whether it's Georgia, whether it's Nevada, whether it is Arizona, all of these states where Senate control is going to be decided, whether that motivation is going to start to coalesce into a Republican red wave. But I think based on the numbers so far, this election right now is looking more like a continuation of 2020. That is, where Republicans do pretty well in the House and basically we break even in the Senate. It doesn't look like a transformative red wave that many of us were hoping for, at least, as you said, sitting at around 80 days out.
Yeah, it looked redder about 3 months ago. Let's see what happens. Clay, thank you very much for joining us from Outkick World Headquarters there. You know, to find out what's going on with Outkick, go to Outkick.com. Clay started it. It's a great website. Clay, thank you very much.
We have breaking news, and it is a doozy. Moments ago, the Justice Department released a secret 2019 memo. It was written by Bill Barr's two top deputies, Stephen Engel and Ed O'Callaghan. Bill Barr used this memo, held secret until moments ago, to justify his decision to not charge Donald Trump with the crimes of obstruction of justice outlined in the 23-month-long investigation led by Robert Mueller and his team from the Mueller probe. This memo was written by two senior DOJ officials for Attorney General Barr, both political appointees. They argue that the Mueller report had not established a case to charge Trump with obstruction. The Justice Department had fought to keep this memo hidden, but last week an appeals court ordered its release, agreeing with an earlier decision by a judge that DOJ had been, quote, disingenuous in withholding the memo. Let's bring into our conversation Andrew Weissman, former DOJ prosecutor and senior member of Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation. He's now an MSNBC legal analyst. Also with us still, Pete Strzok, he's a former FBI counterintelligence agent who also worked on the Mueller investigation. And my colleague, NBC News justice reporter Ryan Riley's here. Ryan, you've been reading through it. Tell me your sort of top line observations.
Yeah, so essentially it lays out a lot of what was redacted. We had only seen a very heavily redacted form of this before, but it lays out the basis. And, it does seem to be in many ways making essentially what amounts to a defense argument for Trump in a lot of these cases. There's one line in here regarding the line where this was Comey telling the president that he hoped that he could let this go. And they write in here that there was not a clear and it was not directing, quote, a clearly direct a particular action in the Flynn investigation, and Comey did not react at the time as though he had received a direct order from the president. It's just overall, it seems a pretty defensive mechanism. And remember, these were two top officials from the Trump administration who were making this case, but they were essentially making a case for what Barr had sort of already determined, which was that he was not going to charge the president. The other line that the other argument I think that really sticks out here is just this idea that Donald Trump wasn't necessarily motivated by his desire to cover up wrongdoing. It was more that he was just getting impacted by in the political realm, and this was impacting his political abilities. It's basically an argument that would sort of justify a lot of his actions, is what this memo sort of lays out. So overall, it sort of almost reads as a defensive document of Donald Trump in a lot of ways.
Continued political rhetoric that is aimed at inspiring people to hurt their fellow Americans is dangerous. It was dangerous 2 years ago when it started in my direction. It's dangerous today when it continues in the direction of the FBI or a sitting U.S. Supreme Court justice for that matter.
Couple of developments today in the investigations related to the January 6th insurrection. First, you had the feds today charging 5 members of the militia group known as the B Squad, which was allegedly run by a former candidate for Congress. This, as we're also learning, the committee is using its summer recess to get deeper into whether former President Trump's cabinet talked about using the 25th Amendment to remove him from office, according to his sources telling our team, giving hints at what the committee may focus on in the next round of public hearings set to pick back up come September next month. I want to bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale and Justice reporter Ryan Riley. And Ryan, let me start with you. First to report on this militia arrest. I know there's a couple of things that stood out to you about these new charges and about its leader.
That's right. So there were 3 arrests that happened today in Florida. There was one up in Vermont and one in Kentucky. It was all involving this B Squad. And what B Squad is a reference to is essentially a B plan, meaning that there were individuals who were planning essentially to what would happen if Trump wouldn't stay in power. This was going to be their B plan, essentially to help him retain power. What's sort of remarkable about this is, that this is all organized by a former candidate for the GOP nomination, House nomination in Florida, who had been running for several months, and also that he organized an entire block of hotels in D.C. On January 6th. The FBI affidavit states that more than 40 people were staying in this block of hotels who are all part of this B Squad, so to speak. The number of individuals who were charged in this case are 5, and we're all involved at the tunnel, where some of the most egregious violence that we saw on January 6th took place. So it's another indication that this January 6th investigation by the FBI is ongoing. There's a lot more work to do, but this is one of the more complicated cases that we've seen come up. A lot of these cases have been one-offs, just one individual charged with their conduct, but this is more of a conspiracy type of case where all of these individuals plan together and are charged as a group, in fact, here, Haley.
My campaign for president, I made a commitment. That would provide student debt relief. And I'm honoring that commitment today. Using the authority Congress granted the Department of Education we will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans. In addition, students who come from low-income families, which allowed them to qualify to receive a Pell Grant, will have their debt reduced $20,000. Both of these targeted actions are for families who need it the most. Working and middle-class people hit especially hard during the pandemic, making under $125,000 a year.